Hi, and thank you for joining this session. I'm Dr. Pamela Mertens. I'm the lead Edlink trainer for LDOE. And today I'm going to walk you through how to set up your Mila account, which leads into your Edlink account, as well as provide you with instructions on how to gain access to your sites, okay, as an existing provider. All right, there are a couple things that I want to show you first. I want to make sure that you are seen. Let's see, here we go. All right, so this is the page you need to be on as far as setting up your account. We'll get back to that here in just a second. Okay, I want you to take a look at this Edlink training page. Now, if you simply go to Louisiana Believes, just the main website, just type in Louisiana Believes, and up here in the search bar in the top right, just type in Edlink training. I'm going to show you the various ways you can find this. This is the very first link. Okay, click on the link and it takes you to the training page. And also, if you're on any of the licensing pages or informational pages, this blue banner about halfway down, you'll see the Edlink training link. So all you have to do is click on that. Let's say if you're in licensing information and someone, one of your consultants recommends that you look at one of the user guides, simply go over here to the left side, click Edlink training, and you'll be able to find it. Now, this is the user guide we're going to be using this morning, and I'll show you what it looks like live as well. But this user guide is right here. So once you click on that, a PDF will open up. Okay. Now, all of these links within the manual are active. So if I were to click on these right now, Edlink, this page right here, the main sign-in page, would open up for you. And I have that available throughout the manual. Any other links that you might need for resetting passwords or reminding you of your user ID, what have you, okay? So it's a good idea to go ahead and download this, or at least make sure you bookmark this page so that you can return to it quickly, because look at all of these videos and user guides that I've created for you. And if you are in-home, family home, we haven't forgotten you. Yours are down here. And I'm adding to them and revising and updating them, usually on a monthly basis, just to make sure you have the latest and greatest information. Okay. And if your CCAP information is going to take you straight to the CCAP information site. Okay. And your CCAP provider is going to take you to your CCAP pages here in Louisiana Believes. Okay. All right. So let's get back to this page here and let me reshare. All right. So you should now be seeing the main login page. So this session is under the assumption, as I'm training you, that you already, or you do not have an Edlink account set up yet. Now, if you already have one set up, then you can just hang tight to the last 10 or 15 minutes of this video, and I will assist you in requesting access, requesting the proper roles to your sites. Okay, but the first part of this video is going to show you how to set up your initial Mila and Edlink account. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to click Create an Account. Now on this page, it just explains what Edlink is, very brief summary there. Okay, what is Mila? Now Mila acts as a liaison or liaises between any of your state systems, including Edlink. So once you create a Mila account and you create a user ID and a password, you'll use those same credentials for any of the systems that you might have access to now or in the future. Okay, so let's continue to Mila down in the bottom right-hand corner. Okay, now you're going to see a screen with the 5 fists, 5 hands in the middle. Okay, the blue and green one, or teal. Okay, don't click on any buttons. Okay, just work with me here. Okay, we're going to scroll down to section 1. And in section 1, you're just going to put your name. It is case sensitive. However you type it in here is the way that it's going to look on your profile. So go ahead and use proper capitalizations if that's important to you. Want to make sure licensing and everything is printed correctly. Okay, your user ID down in section 2. This is not your email. I repeat, this is not your email. I know that there are some companies or agencies, cable companies, electric companies, places like that, that ask you to use your email as a user ID. Okay, we do not do that. Please choose a user ID about 10 to 12 characters long. The only symbols that you can use are the dash or the hyphen, the @ sign, and the underscore. But you do have to follow these templates. Okay. Now, even though that says fewer than 64, I want you to stick to around 10 to 12. That way there are no complications. Okay, please keep it simple. Your user ID is not useful to anyone unless they have your password. Okay, so now your password, we want to put your password is a little more complex, a little more complicated. So if you look here, you can see that you can use all of these symbols. You can get a little more creative with your password. Okay, but again, keep it to around 10 to 15 characters. Okay, but you can, I would recommend that you mix it up and use a variety of uppercase, lowercase, and symbols. All right, now before we go any further, we're going to close this by clicking on the light bulb, just to get it out of the way. I want you to write down your user ID, and I want you to write down your password. And then I want you to confirm your password. And you should see 3 green check marks on the right side if the passwords match. Okay, now please don't overlook this. Make sure that you write this down, especially for the time being. It is completely up to you if you want to memorize it in the future or keep this piece of paper in a safe, locked away place. That's up to you. But right now, while I'm trying to help you gain access, please write down your user ID and password before you move to section 3, okay? So now let's go down to 3. So in 3, you're just going to pick 6 random numbers. You don't have to overthink it. Just pick. What I do is usually hit the keyboard and just pick 6 numbers. They cannot be consecutive, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they can't be all 8s or all 7s. Okay, they have to be random, and then just repeat it underneath it. Okay, and if they match, again, you'll get the green check marks on the right side. Now, the pen number, in case you're wondering, is only used by Mila, but you more than likely will never need to use that pen. But I would write that down anyway with your username and password, just in case a new feature becomes available to you guys. Okay, this right now, it's just a formality for us to establish you an account that we have to do that. All right, so now we go down to our telephone. Don't put any characters or symbols. All you do is put the numbers. It'll format it for you. Okay, here's where I want you to really slow down. So your email address is your personal email address. All early childhood providers should be using their personal address. This is your Edlink account. This is not your schools, your centers, or your daycares. Now, if you're in-home, family home, it might be or probably is one and the same, and that's fine. Because sometimes you're a 1 or 2 man show or woman show, I should say, either one. But if you're with a center, please use your personal email address that you have immediate access to, because once we create your account, you'll need to go into that immediately after and confirm the email, and it helps set up your account. Okay, that's the final stage for that one, for Mila anyway. All right, so you're going to put your personal email address in here. Plus, it allows you to have access to your Edlink if you change employers or if a server goes down at your center. We want to make sure that you can always access your Edlink account. All staff must have an Edlink account. They must establish this the same way that I'm showing you to do now, or showing you how to do. In the near future, in the early spring or mid-spring, staff will be expected to maintain their own credentials, to upload their own credentials. Of course, the director can help them do that, but they will have the ability to maintain and view their own resume portfolio that's kept in the cloud. Okay, so if a staff member is working for one site but wants to start working for another, or maybe they're splitting their time between two centers that have no affiliation with each other, this particular staff member is able to provide their portfolio of credentials for verification to each director. Okay, things move with the staff. Okay, so it's important that you have access to that at all times. It's very challenging to reset an email, or excuse me, reset a password if you don't know the email address that you use to register, or you can't access it. All right, so once you're happy with that, I want you to just scroll back up real quick. Make sure you wrote down your user ID and your password. Make sure your name is spelled correctly as you would see it on your CCCBC. Okay, and again, your PIN, you have the check marks there. And now I want you to hit create an account. Okay, I want you to push create an account. Now, for those of you who are pretty sure that you've already set up a Mila or Edlink account, or at least a Mila account, but can't seem to recall your user ID. Okay, well, that's okay. You can use this moment now while everybody's waiting on their confirmation email. Okay, you can click on this link just above, right here. This is an active link, and it'll take you to this help page. And what I want you to do is follow the order that I've put in here with a 1 and a 2. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to enter your email address and then click send user ID reminder. You can't change your user ID, but it will give you your user ID. Okay, once you have that, you're going to take your user ID up here, put it here. You're going to put your email address again, but this time click on send password reset link. That way you can update your password and change it. You now have your user ID also. So in other words, you have access to your Mila again. Okay. So once you've done that, if you needed to do that, okay, you can send a re-verification right here, put your email address back in, and send the verification email again. Okay, let's go down here. Okay, we've already done that. I want to get you to the point where, let's see here, there we go. Okay, so right here inside of the manual, it describes the email that you received. Sorry, it's a little blurry. It's clear in the manual for you. But it's telling you to watch your email box. Okay, this is for everyone that didn't have any issues. You click create your account and make sure you read all of the banners that pop up on your screen. Okay, the banner you should receive is telling you that successful. Now all you have to do is authorize or confirm your email. Okay, sometimes it's instantaneous. More often than not, it takes a couple minutes. If it's taken more than 5 or 6 minutes, make sure you're refreshing your email routinely, or you can send that re-verification. It's been my experience that as soon as you send that verification link again, both of them pop up. So just keep refreshing, try to be patient. I would say give it at least 10 minutes, if you have the time to wait. Okay, because now if you do get 2 verification emails back because you've requested it to be resent, just take the latest one, the most recent email that you received, and confirm it. Okay, this is what your email is going to look like down here at the bottom. On the email, or in the email, it will say confirm your email right here, and it'll be underlined. You're going to click on that, the words itself. Okay. Now, once you've done that, you've completed the Mila registration. Okay. So once you've completed the Mila registration, Okay, close everything out. Okay, but go back to the manual or to this address, however you want to get there. Okay, and it's going to take you to your new user profile. Okay, these are just those resets again as a reminder in case you needed help with that. Now, this one is really important here. So the first time that you click your sign in, you're going to have a credential dialog box that pops up that looks like this. Okay, you're going to enter your user ID and your password. Now, if you didn't write it down, or maybe this is in the future and you completely forget what your password is, that's fine. Look down here at the bottom by this arrow. It says, do you need help logging in? Okay, click on that link and it takes you to that page that I showed you earlier. Okay, same page, but remember, do your user ID first, then forgot your password. Unless you're 100% certain of what your user ID is. It's always best to do both, just so that you have a good refresher. Okay, you will not use this email again. Okay, this is only for when you set up your account. All right, so once you sign in, and let's say you successfully put your credentials in, you're going to see a new user profile. Okay, now you'll have information already in here. You'll have your name, your first name and last name, and a middle name if you added one. Your phone number, if your phone number's not in there, please enter that. Okay. Email address will already be in there because that's what you registered with. You cannot change any of this information here. Okay, at the top. Now you will have a MILA user ID already. However, the one that's circled here, you will not receive a staff ID until after saving. Okay, and if you don't receive a staff ID after you've completed this entire page and saved, then you'll come back here, click here and submit a support ticket and simply let them know that you did not receive a staff ID during your registration. Okay, and you can send them a screenshot of what you see as well. Okay, so I want you to go down to this address information. You're going to enter information anywhere that's white. Now this one's gray because it's already been completed. Okay, but your information, put your physical address, and if it's the same as your mailing, then you're going to do copy to mailing. See this button right here? And it'll pop all the information over here. Now remember, this is your Edlink account. This is your address and your mailing address, your physical and mailing. This is not the center's. Of course, if you're in-home family home, it may be the same. Okay, that's perfectly fine. But for those of you with centers or daycares or schools, this is where you're going to put your own information. Okay, everybody has their own account. Now, when you get down to the personal identification information, you'll need to put your birth date, and remember, it needs to be exact, so take your time. This is going to sync with CCCBS, so we want to make sure that everything is correct. Now, when you get to your social, you're going to enter your social security number, and as soon as you click out of the box into the white area or into a new text box, everything will redact except for the last four, which you should be pretty used to seeing anyway. Okay. And again, all of this is confidential. Okay. Identification number, that's going to be your government issued ID. It can be a state ID if you don't have a driver's license. It can be a passport, military ID. And then you'll put the state that it was issued. And then your gender, your race, and whether you're married or not. Now, this is the important critical stage down here. It's all important, but this is the next important, I should say. Make sure that you're selecting early childhood. Now, you'll see other questions down here, but as soon as you select early childhood, those questions go away. All right. Now, don't hit save yet. Don't get ahead of yourself. Now, this is very important. The state requires that you only, or allows you to only have one account. That's not to say that you cannot inadvertently create more than one account, which will cause many problems for you and for the developers. Okay, so if you make a mistake on anything, if you hit save and you realize that information has changed, it's not correct, do not set up another account. Complete a support ticket, let the developers work through your profile and make the corrections that are needed. Okay. All right. Now, the other word of warning here is do not use any pre-populate or auto-populate functions. In other words, when you're putting your address in and you put the 7 to your zip code, sometimes your entire address will appear in a drop down. You can select it and it populates the fields for you. That's handy when it's your own computer and no one else is ever on your computer. That's typically not the case in centers, and in in-home family homes, we have family members using things too. So if you use that, I will guarantee you that if you do not go back up, remember you haven't hit save yet. I want you to scroll back to the top of this profile, double check all of your information. And this is after you've selected the early childhood at the bottom. Okay, double check everything to make sure nothing has flipped to another person's information. A handful of times, actually more than a handful, especially last year during launch, we had names here, addresses here, and somebody else's personal identification here that that person worked with that was also on the computer. Okay, so we've had a blended profile. So the information was not correct, and developers have to go into about 7 databases to make sure this is corrected. So please take your time. Do not use the auto-populate. As a matter of fact, anything to do with the Edlink application, I warn against using any of that auto-populate, okay? Just type your information in, unless it's clearly obvious that it's correct, okay? So now, once you've double-checked all of your information, okay, you're gonna hit the save button on the bottom right. Once you hit the save button, I want you to scroll back up here. You don't get any kind of confirmation. Everything just turns gray. Scroll back up here in the top section and make sure you received a number here, staff ID. It's a long number. Okay. If you did, you're good to go. Hang tight. Okay. If you did not, please submit a support ticket. Like I said earlier, let them know that you did not receive a staff ID after you completed your new user profile. Okay. And they will remedy that for you. They'll be in touch with you within 24 hours and help you resolve that issue as quickly as possible. Now, you can see certain things without a staff ID, but you can't move forward. Okay, it's more of a read only. So it'll trick you into thinking that, well, I don't need a staff ID. You cannot do anything at all without a staff ID. Okay, so don't bypass that. Okay, if you didn't get one, let support know. Make sure you use this link or the support link that's on the Edlink training page. Do not use the general provider help desk. Okay, that is not the Edlink help desk. Okay, so now once we've done that, okay, I want you to go to the top left corner. Whoops, there we go. My scrolling is a little bit sensitive. So go to the top left corner of your screen, and I want you to click on your name, and then I want you to sign out. You'll see the word OK twice and select it. Okay, and once you have done that, you're going to sign back in. And this is what all new users will see. And that doesn't mean new providers, this means new users. Okay, every person who is setting up a Mila to Edlink account is going to get this dashboard first. We identify this as the dashboard. And notice how it says welcome. It doesn't say welcome back, okay? Because you haven't finished requesting access to your entities yet. Okay. So a couple things about this down here at the bottom, new providers. New providers will always see this dashboard. This is someone who has never provided care before, ever been licensed or certified before, okay? You're going to click on find the right program, this left blue button. And then you're going to answer 3 or 4 questions, a series of questions or prompts, and it'll make a license recommendation for you. And you can always change that by answering the questions in a different way. Just scroll up and do them again. Okay. And you're going to complete your application, submit it for review. Once it has been approved or issued, then you will be able to do what I'm about to go over now with your existing providers. These are people who already have centers or sites or daycares or in-home family homes already. Okay, they're already registered or certified. Okay, so down here it explains also what's going to happen with yours. You need to make sure, keep it in the back of your mind, that you have roles to request. You need to request entity manager. If you're the one that's going to be doing all the renewals and handling everything, you don't necessarily have to be the director. You could just be an appointed person. But remember, this person, whoever's entity manager, has access to closing your site, CCAP if you're a recipient. They can change your license type. They can change location. They can close, like I said, close it down. So just make sure that whoever's entity manager is supposed to be entity manager. Okay, and you're also going to request security coordinator if you're entity manager. This allows you to have access to approving anybody who might request access to your site, and also access to your banking information and some of those other features that I just went over. Okay. So there are a couple other roles that you'll be requesting access to if you're other staff or staff administrator. Now, staff administrator will have access to all staffing information as well as to KinderConnect if you're CCAP. Okay, so if you're type 3, then let's say you're a Head Start. Okay, if you're a type 3 Head Start and you're not a CCAP recipient, the way that the Head Starts have been set up is that there is one overall director who will be doing all of the renewals for the sites, and then each site manager or director, however you label them, they are going to request staff administrator. Okay, because that gives them access to all the staffing information, training, credentials, whether they might be expiring, and it also allows them to take attendance, add kids, view children through their CCAP, and what have you. Okay, but it does not give them access to all of the things that the entity manager can do. So if you're Head Start, you'll have one overarching entity manager, and then all the sites will have staff administrator rights for their site managers. Okay, and if you have any questions, you can always let us know if that confuses you. Grants, it just depends on how you're structured. Okay, but more than likely your entity manager will also, you'll only need your entity manager unless you have multiple sites like the Head Starts do, and you'll structure it the same way. Okay. All right, so let's move down. So, well, let me go right back here. Okay, so this right blue button is what you are going to click on. Okay. So what I want to do is let me get signed in here. There are a couple pages that you don't have, and I don't want to confuse you. So let me go ahead and get that signed in, and then I'll share. Okay. Okay, let's reshare. There we go. Okay, so when you click on that right blue button, it's going to take you to this page here, Access Request. Now, I have a bunch of sites that I have access to. You won't see anything under here yet, okay? Unless you've already gone through this training, maybe last year, and you have additional centers that you need access to, okay? Now remember, if you have 10 sites, you have to request access to all sites the same way. So in other words, each one of these, I would have to request entity manager and security coordinator for. Okay. Same if you're Head Start or Grant and you have multiple sites. All sites that you are going to do the renewals for or maintain, you need to request the roles for each additional site. Okay, then they will be added to your list. Okay, and I'll show you the other place where you'll be able to see them as well. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do, and according to the manual, we are going to select Edlink Security. And this is in the manual, so don't worry. Okay. Now I'm going to show you what this looks like live. And again, the staff ID is only used internally by developers. The user ID is useless unless you have your password. So I'm not concerned. There's no state secrets here, pun intended. Okay, so according to the manual, I've put pictures in there that take you through step by step. Okay, so you're going to go over here. You will not have any of these. Okay, you're only going to have the top 3 on yours. All right, these are just mine. Okay, so you're going to request permission on the left side. And you won't see anything here yet because you haven't asked for anything yet. It should be just gray boxes right there. Okay, you're going to request permission again. Okay, now what I want you to do is move your cursor to the far left side of the box over here, this long rectangle, and just keep it right there the entire time. You're not going to submit until all questions are finished. Okay, so let's click in here. This says, please make a selection based on your information system access needs. Now that's, you might say, well, I have no idea what that is. Okay, but if you click on it, it'll make sense to you. Your early childhood. Okay, and again, it is in the manual. Okay, now these little circles you'll see appear for every step along the way. If you make a mistake or select an incorrect choice, then you can always click on that and it'll take you back to that particular step and you can continue from there versus having to cancel and start all over. Okay, so select an application. So the first one you're going to select is your Edlink Ops portal. And your location filter, district and local. And now you're going to type in your location. Okay, now don't be so finite with typing in the entire name of your center. Same thing with in-home family. Type in maybe your first name and then space and then your last name. If it looks like it's not coming up, you can also just try your last name. And you can also search by address. So for some reason, I typed in baby, 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 and nothing came up. I could type in 943 A East, just 943 probably, and it will come up and I can select it that way. Now you might say, well, why does it do that? Well, there's a couple reasons that your name might not come up. So the legacy databases that the information has been transferred to, there may be some missing characters, there may be spaces, things may have transferred differently, older fonts. Okay, for whatever reason, just make sure that you're creative in your search if it's not coming up. Now, if you've tried these different variations of searches and it's still not coming up, then I need you to go back to that support ticket link in the manual or from the training page. And please submit a support ticket under Edlink issues or system issues, letting them know that you do not see your center or your location's name in Edlink security. Okay, it's not coming up in your searches. Okay, and they'll do a quick investigation on whether or not the location IDs match, the site codes, all that, and they'll get it squared away for you and let you know when you can go back in there and select your place. Okay, so we're going to select this one. Now you're selecting your role. Remember, this is set up, this training is set up today for Entity Manager. Okay. However, if I were to select other staff, or staff administrator, now other staff and staff are the same. Okay. Some people like to put their teachers under staff and then their general staff under other staff. But staff administrator is that one that I was referring to. It's kind of like an HR position. They can see all of the employee information, training credentials. They can help you validate those, make sure they're all current. Okay. You're going to select that one if that's what the individual is going to be. And if there are other staff, they're going to select this one. But today we're going to do the entity manager. Okay. And then in here, just type in requesting access. And now you're going to submit your request. Okay, I'm not going to submit it because I don't want to put it under their location. I'm going to cancel. But it'll take you, once you submit, it'll take you back to this page again. Okay, because we have a couple things to do here. Okay, so now under yours, the only thing you'll see right here is this yellow school bus, yellow orange tag here that says pending. Okay, because you just requested permission. Okay, once I receive your request, or once every morning, sometimes in the afternoon, I'll run a report and I will make sure that this particular individual is authorized to be the entity manager for the sites being requested. And any other requests for staff admin or other staff will also be looked at and approved. Okay. So we're going to go again to request permission. Okay, this looks very repetitive, so you should be getting used to it after this one. Early childhood. This time your application, move down to the next one, is going to be Edlink Security Access. Okay. Now your location and filter, district and local. And then again, we're going to put our location in here. Okay. Now you have to be very, very careful. Please don't select all. These do not apply. You already have these, and these do not apply to you right now, even if you're CCAP. Just follow the manual, select the Edlink Security Access, and put requesting access. Okay, and you're going to hit submit request. All right, and I'm going to hit cancel for myself, but I want to show you what the manual looks like so that you will know. Okay, so if you'll notice through here, I'm taking you step by step. Okay, and walked you through, told you exactly what to choose. So don't be worried. All of your information's in here. This is the one we just did, the security coordinators. Okay, now again, as a reminder, one entity manager per site. Everyone else is staff admin or other staff. Okay, so we're going to get down to the bottom of this. I just want you to see that all those images are there for you. Okay, now KinderConnect access. If you are not a CCAP recipient, if you're grant, Head Start, or just don't do CCAP, then all you have to do is go to that top left corner again, sign out, and then sign back in, and then just hang tight. Okay. Now, when we get down to the KinderConnect, the instructions are down here as well. You won't see it in the table of contents yet. It's being revised. However, it is at the end of the manual. Okay, and it explains how to select your KinderConnect. So let me do that one real quick for you. Let's see. All right, let me reshare here. Okay. All right, so you should be seeing my Edlink security where we just were just a moment ago. Okay, so we're going to request permission again because this is where it kind of landed you back. All right, so for your KinderConnect, you're going to do early childhood again. Now your application, you'll go to KinderConnect. Your filter, same thing, district and local. And then you're going to enter your location. Okay, and now your role is only going to be attendance administrator. Okay, do not choose this one, only this one. Now you do have to check this little box. It's reminding you or your acceptance of the PII access to the children in CCAP. In other words, their personal identification information. You'll have access to that. Okay, and then right here, just type in requesting access and you'll submit your request. Okay, and that gives you all three of the requests that you need if you're CCAP. Now remember, if you're not CCAP, you only need entity manager or staff administrator or other staff. Now, as entity manager, you're the only one that will request the Edlink security coordinator access. Okay. All right, so I'm going to hit cancel request here. And now I want to show you how to get back to this page. So I want you to log out, log back in now that you've made all of your requests. And let's just assume that I've already approved them all. Okay, so we're going to sign out. Okay, so if you sign out, sign back in. When you return to your dashboard, you should see a dashboard that looks like this. Now it says welcome back. Not just welcome, it says welcome back. And let me choose an entity here so that you can see what it all looks like. Okay. So over here, you'll see your entity information. Okay. The address, the type, whether it's open or closed. Okay. And you have all your helpful links here. If you are within a 90-day window, this is where you're going to find your renewal. It'll be dark. It'll be active. Okay. But as you can see, this one expired in September. This is just a fictitious training application, okay, or account. All right. So down here, you will have this section here, pending applications. Now, whether or not you've already used this before and started your renewal or some other type of entity change, whatever you do, it'll pop up down here for you. Okay, now if you're just submitting your renewal, let's say you open that up and submit your renewal will show up here and it'll be in progress while you're working on it. It'll be pending after you've submitted it. You can view it and you can withdraw it. And while it's in progress, you can cancel it. Okay, but the withdrawal is a 4-step process, so there are no accidents on that, okay? Once you cancel or withdraw, none of that information can be retrieved. Once your license or certification's been approved, you won't see that on your screen at all anymore. This area will show you receipts of things that you've canceled or withdrawn, things that are in progress or things that are pending. All right. So now you have your messages down at the bottom. The messages and notifications that you receive are going to be Edlink or computer generated. This is not for open communication with your consultants, okay? You can find their information on their licensing page and you can locate that from Louisiana Beliefs. All right. Now you won't have this bar here. Excuse me, I apologize. You won't have this top one, you'll have this one, and all of your entities will be listed here, okay? Now remember, they're not going to be listed there unless you request access for the roles for each site and once they're approved. And like I said, I usually try to approve those within 24 hours, if not sooner. All right, now if you have requested correctly, and they have been approved, yet you still do not see an additional center here in the drop down, then please submit a support ticket. Explain that you cannot see your second or third or fourth location, even though you have approved roles in Edlink security. Okay. It's usually a location ID situation when when the data was transferred from the old programs. Okay. Easy fix though, but you do have to submit that support ticket to the right place to get the help that you need. And you'll receive correspondence and a ticket number immediately. Now, that doesn't mean that you'll get the issue resolved immediately. Okay, depending on how it's triaged and its priority when your renewal date is. But they do work nonstop, consistently, trying to make sure that all these issues are resolved as quickly as possible. Now I'm hovering over these right here. They're very important. Okay. Please make sure that you watch the videos that are available on the training help desk on how and when to use these. Okay. The one thing that you need to remember is make sure that your entity is correct here. Make sure it's showing up over here. And if you are within 90 days from your renewal date, this button will be active and everything should be done inside of your renewal. Now, if you have something unique, like an ownership change, you're selling your business, then that video also, as well as the user guide, will be available on the training page for you. Okay, and I'll walk you through how to do that. All of your other entity changes, watch the videos and you will be good to go. All right, and that is how to set up your Edlink account, as well as request access to your sites. Thanks for attending the session.